From the outside, Dirty Jobs always looked like a show built on hard work, humor, and the courage to step into places most people avoid. Viewers saw Mike Rowe walk into factories, climb into tanks, and face messy, dangerous, and uncomfortable situations with a smile. What they didn't see were the silent figures behind the camera, the ones who followed him into every dark tunnel, every unstable building, and every unpredictable situation. These cameramen were expected to stay invisible, but their experiences were often far more intense than anything shown on screen. The cameraman who recently spoke out described the job as something that pushed him beyond the limits of what he believed a human could tolerate. According to him, the audience only saw a tiny fraction of the danger. There were countless moments where he believed he might not walk out alive, yet none of these were ever mentioned publicly. He said that each episode carried a hidden story, a version of events that was buried under editing, humor, and the pressure to keep the show positive. He revealed that the most terrifying part of the job wasn't the dirt or the smell. It was the unpredictability. Many of the places they filmed were unstable environments where one wrong step could cause a collapse, a chemical reaction, or a machinery accident. Cameramen were often required to shoot while standing on slippery platforms, climbing unsafe ladders, or squeezing into narrow spaces where they barely had room to breathe. The fear was constant, but quitting wasn't an option for many. They needed the paycheck, and the production team relied heavily on their willingness to do whatever it took. He also said that Mike Rowe himself faced these situations with bravery, but unlike Mike, the cameraman had no preparation. Mike was told what the job involved, but the crew often learned everything at the last second. As a result, they walked into danger blind, trying to stay calm while filming in places where even trained workers hesitated. The cameraman admitted that watching Mike from behind the lens was both inspiring and terrifying because he realized they were responsible for capturing every moment while also trying to save their own lives. There were times when the crew was forced to work with equipment that wasn't designed for harsh conditions. Cameras would overheat, lenses would fog up from chemicals in the air, and batteries would drain faster when exposed to extreme temperatures. Instead of stopping the shoot, the crew had to improvise, sometimes risking burns, cuts, or exposure to toxic materials. The cameraman explained that their goal was to keep the footage clean, steady, and clear, even when their hands were shaking from fear or exhaustion. He described moments when the team filmed in underground tunnels so narrow that they had to crawl forward inch by inch. The heat trapped inside these tunnels made the air thick and suffocating, and the sound of shifting earth reminded them that one wrong vibration could bury them alive. In these moments, the cameraman felt that filming a television show was not worth the risk, but turning back wasn't possible once the crew had committed to the shot. Another chilling detail he shared was how often animals were involved. Rats, snakes, insects, and aggressive livestock sometimes attacked unexpectedly. Cameramen were bitten, scratched, stung, and chased, but these incidents were rarely mentioned publicly. The crew had to pretend everything was fine even when they were bleeding or shaking. Many of them developed a habit of hiding their injuries because they didn't want to be seen as weak or unprofessional. One of the most shocking truths he revealed was about a specific shoot that he still refuses to fully describe. He only mentioned that everyone on set felt something was wrong the moment they arrived. The environment was unstable, the workers seemed nervous, and the task they were filming involved equipment that looked like it could malfunction at any moment. During filming, a sudden mechanical failure caused an explosion of debris, and the cameraman felt the heat rush past his face. He believed he would die right there. The incident was never mentioned publicly, and the episode aired without any hint of what happened behind the scenes. The stress of the job didn't end when filming stopped. Cameramen often went home with chemical smells stuck to their skin, bruises on their arms, and cuts on their hands. Many of them struggled to sleep after certain episodes, replaying the dangerous scenes in their minds. The cameraman said that the pressure to stay strong emotionally was harder than dealing with physical pain. No one wanted to admit that the job was breaking them mentally because they feared losing their place on the team. What hurt him the most was how replaceable he felt. Production demanded speed, results, and quality. If a cameraman hesitated, he was told to push through. If he complained about unsafe conditions, he was told that the workers who lived with those jobs did it every day. This mindset created a culture where silence became the only option. Cameramen didn't want to be the reason a shoot was delayed, so they put themselves at risk again and again. He explained that he admired Mike Rowe, not just for his courage but for his willingness to do tasks many people would never try. But at the same time, he felt that the show often overlooked the sacrifices of the crew. Viewers saw Mike joking, working, and learning, but they didn't see the cameraman climbing behind him, lifting heavy equipment, or filming while standing in dangerous positions. Their work blended into the background, unnoticed yet essential. Over time, the constant exposure to danger changed the way he saw the world. Everyday tasks felt strangely easy, while small risks made him nervous because they reminded him of things that went wrong during filming. Even years after leaving the show, he carried memories he wished he could forget. There were days when he felt proud of what he survived, and others when the weight of those experiences made him feel trapped. The cameraman said he finally decided to speak out because he felt people needed to understand that the hardest jobs on the show weren't always the ones being highlighted. Many workers admired the filming crew and told them privately, "You guys have the real dangerous job." That sentence stayed with him for years. He realized the workers understood their world better than the producers did, and their warnings were often ignored. He also shared that during some episodes, local workers begged the show to skip certain tasks because they knew the conditions were unsafe. But the pressure to make good television often outweighed these warnings. Cameramen ended up filming tasks that locals themselves refused to do. He said this created a moral conflict because the show's purpose was to honor workers, yet sometimes it placed the crew in danger for the sake of entertainment. As he spoke, it became clear that the danger wasn't just physical. It was emotional, psychological, and constant. The fear of something going wrong hung over every moment. The responsibility of capturing the perfect shot while staying alive created a level of stress that most people cannot imagine. He said that many cameramen cried in private, feeling overwhelmed by the pressure, but returned the next day because they didn't want to disappoint the team. His story shocked many viewers because it revealed a side of dirty jobs that had been buried behind humor and editing. People realized that the real danger wasn't just what Mike Rowe did on camera, but what the unseen crew had to endure in silence. The cameraman said that many workers respected him more than anyone else because he carried heavy equipment into places they themselves avoided. That respect kept him going, even when he felt terrified. The truth he shared has now created waves across social media, and many people are demanding more transparency about how dangerous reality TV production truly is. They want to know why these stories were hidden and why the crew suffered in silence for so long. The cameraman ended his message by saying he hopes his confession will protect future crews from going through the same experiences. By the time he finished telling his story, people understood that the real bravery behind dirty jobs did not belong to one man alone. It belonged to the entire crew who risked their lives for every shot, every scene, and every moment the audience enjoyed. His honesty opened a window into a world most viewers never imagined, revealing that the dirtiest part of the job might not be what was shown on screen but what was kept hidden behind it. The cameraman continued to reveal details that went even deeper, painting a picture of a work environment where danger lurked in every corner and silence became a form of survival. He said that although the show looked fun and adventurous, the crew always felt a weight on their shoulders. Every location brought new risks that no briefing could fully prepare them for.